WWE must stop doing this with Tiffany Stratton or else, because they are on the brink of ruining the women's champion's career. And I know that might sound a little overboard, a little dramatic, a little bold, but I think most of y'all are going to agree with me after this argument. Now, Tiffany Stratton, she is clearly a top star in WWE. I understand. She won this Money in the Bank. She's a former NXT Women's Champion, and she is our Women's Champion right now. But you need to keep in mind that this is actually a broader discussion, because Tiffany Stratton is clearly the catalyst. She is the key player. She is the one that holds down, in a positive way, of course, the SmackDown women's roster. She is someone in which WWE clearly sees as someone that they can build around, and they can build the division around. They see her as a top star that is going to really help run this company for the next 10, 15 years and do so in a big, big way. I think they look at her as Charlotte Flair 2.0. If you look at 2024, which was clearly her breakout year, not only does she really find her way on the main roster, right? She had feuded with for the WWE Women's title earlier in the year with Bayley and everything, but she wins Money in the Bank. It's a big deal. She gets her hand raised. She walks around with a briefcase, and she starts to align herself with Nia Jax. And so she ultimately cashes in Money in the Bank. It's a big, shocking, surprising move. And then she turns, surprisingly, into a babyface, something in which I don't think a lot of people would have anticipated that the fan base would get behind, and she would be such a good babyface because she is such a great heel. Now, since then, she has feuded with one name in particular over and over and over again. And we had, hopefully, what was the blow-off on May 16th. The way that WWE is ruining Tiffany Stratton, or not doing right by her, is this. They keep going back to the same person. What do I mean by that? I'm talking about Nia Jax. Now, I understand they put a little bit of a pause on this rivalry, okay, leading into Mania. So Tiffany obviously goes over Charlotte Flair, retains the women's title, a major, major deal for her. More on that in a minute. But look and see what I'm talking about. So if you go to cagematch.net, great resource, you can plug in and look at all of the times in which Tiffany Stratton and Nia Jax have worked together. Keep in mind, okay, so you had a situation where Tiffany Stratton cashed in Money in the Bank, won the Women's Championship on the January 3rd episode of SmackDown in Phoenix. Okay? On the February 14th episode of SmackDown, Stratton put her women's title on the line against Nia Jax. They went to a DQ in 16 minutes in Washington. Then they continue the feud. It's Tiffany and Trish Stratus going over Candice LeRae and Nia Jax in Toronto at Elimination Chamber. You would think that would be the end of it, right? You would be wrong. So they do the feud with Charlotte. Coming out of that, we then have a May 2nd tag team match where it's Jade Cargill and Tiffany Stratton going over Naomi and Nia Jax. Now, this was after Nia Jax had made her big return and kicked off this feud. It then leads to the May 16th episode of SmackDown where Stratton goes over Jax in 13 minutes to retain the women's title. So if you count in tag team matches, since January, they have worked 5 times, which 2 of them have been traditional women's championship matches, all on SmackDown. Okay? This is enough. This is enough. Like, you're actually, if you think about it, you're hurting both Tiffany and you're hurting Nia Jax. Well, what do I mean by that? Okay. So let's look at it from Stratton's point of view. You have beaten someone over and over and over again to the point where now we're entering a situation in which the fans go, she's working Nia Jax again. It's another Nia Jax match. It's another Nia Jax segment that Tiffany Stratton has to go through. I'm just going to skip this segment. So it's taking down Tiffany Stratton's star power. Now, don't get me wrong. I understand the ideology behind the feud, okay? So, number one, to start things off, Nia Jax was women's champion. Number two, they were in an alliance together. So, you had to do the betrayal, which was the Money in the Bank cash in. You had to have Stratton go over Jax, and you had to give Jax a rematch. I got no problem with that. What I have an issue with is once you come out of a major win over Charlotte Flair, no one thought that Tiffany was going to retain the championship over Charlotte Flair, especially at a WrestleMania, especially considering Charlotte Flair's character arc. You go ahead and you have Tiffany go over, and you, instead of going forward as you were taking steps in the right direction, you actually go backwards. You go in the wrong direction. You rehash a storyline in which, in my opinion, had been flushed out. We got to the point already. It was time to move on. They didn't do that, right? And so now we have a situation in which we are revisiting, and the fans are like, I don't want to see the segment again. I'm going to skip it out. They're working again. I don't want to see it, right? Enough is enough. If you look at it from a Nia Jax standpoint, I understand you're working the main event. I understand you're feuding with the champion, but you're not even getting a single win. You're just getting, you're essentially a drum set because you were getting beat and beat and beat. You are not getting anything that helps you. I don't think there's anything else to draw out of this feud, right? Like, here's the ideology. So you have a situation in which you have one star who is a bigger star, and then you have one star that is a little bit lesser known star. So Nia Jax is not as over as Tiffany Stratton. The idea is, okay, we can make, what's the point of this feud? Okay, in this case, we want Tiffany to feud with someone that she can beat, and we also want to help the women's division and help the roster. Well, what do you do by that? Okay, so you simply have Tiffany Stratton go over. You build up Nia Jax in the lead up. She's a heel, obviously, so she usually gets the upper hand. And then at the end of the match, Tiffany goes over, but Jax looked so good and so strong and so dominant that her star power has risen just a little bit as a result of working with a bigger star. Okay? Well, that works. If you do a rematch and you do the same result, Jax doesn't get as over, right? She just kind of stays there. You start doing it more than twice, you're actually taking away from all of the gains that you had initially accumulated during the initial feud, right? Because any star power that has been gained or risen or increased in that first match, or coming out of that first match rather, it starts to go away. You're actually depleting it. You're taking away from it. You're deleting it. So if you look at it in that scheme of things, I don't understand what we're doing. Is it just the fact that we need something for Tiffany? We don't have someone ready, or we're waiting to get to someone and we just need her to beat someone? Is that what we're doing? Okay, I understand that. But at the same time, you're taking away from Nia Jax, who was highly praised in late 2024 as women's champion, which is not, that's saying a lot considering her first run with the company was god awful. And her getting praise from people, that's major. She's never gotten praise, in my opinion, right? She wasn't a great worker. Her character sucks. But in 2024, everything started to click, and she got this massive, push and Queen of the Ring winner and all that. So I think you got to be very, very careful when you're trying to, while yes, you can put Tiffany over, if you're going to hurt the others, on the roster. I think you just got to be very, very careful with all that.